What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner, and I'm about to show y'all something that is the solution to our liberal problem, okay? This right here, what I'm going to show you is the kryptonite to liberalism. This is the stuff that is like holy water thrown on vampires when it comes down to emotional people, to people who feel that they're victims, people who are easily manipulated, but more so to the people who is perpetrating the manipulation. This right here is how you combat it. Now, I understand this might be offensive to some that's about to listen to what I'm going to let you hear, because where we're daring to venture is into facts. See how I lean back like this? Yeah, deep, ain't it? Facts. Not feelings, not fiction, facts. Because the only way you can make a practical, reasonable decision, handle a problem, deal with an issue, is if you know the true details. If people give you some inflated details, or they leave out some details, they don't give you enough, or they give you too much or the wrong details, it can skew the way you deal with a problem, which has been going on around these here American states for a long time. And Tucker Carlson calls it out. I put this on my Facebook page, y'all, because after he lays down the facts over these narratives that people have been dishing out, I know there's a whole heap of folks don't want to have to deal with this. Because guess what? We're supposed to lose our minds at the mere sight of something that appears to be racist and immediately assume the position that this is a global and national epidemic and crisis on a big scale. Now, when people come in and say, well, is that so? Let's actually dive into that and see how the numbers play out. Then people get mad. Why are you doing that? See, y'all trying to just go ahead and no. We want you to not be moved around like a chess piece, okay? Right now, you have to decide whether you want to be a pawn or you want to be a queen and king. The pawns are sacrificed because they are low level. They are moved around all over the place, and their job is to do the bidding and protect the king and the queen. All right, so they're expendable. That's all they are. And people who don't educate themselves to be able to make good choices and be level-headed when it comes down to what's going on in our country, you just said, I like to sign up for be a pawn if that's okay. Okay, because I don't want to know stuff. I just want to do my stuff daily. And if you tell me go out there, run into the troops and just go ahead and sacrifice, I'll do it. I'll do it. You know, that right there is the mentality of an angry mob. That right there is the mentality of a lot of people who, because of the historical backdrop of black people and all of that, they just immediately say, man, I don't need to hear no facts. I'm going to react based off of the history of people in America, the history behind slavery, the history of the civil rights movement, and assume all these current day facts are accurate as people just give them to me, or as I see situations pop up here or there and are ran all day long, all week long on the news to make me think that, man, this is happening every single day. Well, if you hear the same story about one case every single day, you might come up with the impression that, man, it sounds like I've been hearing this every single day. You have one of the same cases. And so let's get down to the facts and see how many of these cases are out there after listening to these people's claims. And Tucker exposes that. Now, I'm telling y'all, if you're a liberal who don't like facts, who don't want to have some type of ammunition to actually make a good choice, then you might want to turn this off. You might want to turn it off. I know it's going to burn, but let's hear what's happening.
Everything we're now watching, the looting, the arson, the killing, has a purpose.
It does.
The purpose, we're told again and again, is to end racist police violence against African Americans.
Racist.
We are told that that is the single greatest scourge in this country.
Is it?
For the past 400 years stemming from slavery, there has been a genocide of black people in this country.
Whoa. Now, this is what I mean. Facts versus fiction and feelings. She said for the past 400 years, there's been a genocide of black people. I'm concerned about that statement. The reason I'm concerned about that statement is because there's still a lot of black people. Now, if she's talking about abortions in black neighborhoods, I can understand that. I mean, millions and millions of black babies that have been aborted, that's genocide. But yeah, I'm not seeing thousands of black people being killed daily. Let's talk about what genocide looks like for a second. In 12 years, during World War II, Adolf Hitler killed 6 million Jews. That's genocide. When you talk about that short time frame, and in that amount of time, you exterminate 6 million Jews. Now, I know people saying, well, it was 200 years, 400 years of slavery and the amount of slaves that died. The purpose weren't to just kill the slaves, y'all, because they were black. It was, let's break the slaves, use the slaves for free labor. It wasn't, we're just going to bring all the slaves over here just to kill them because we hate black people, even though they didn't love black people and they didn't hate black people. They just looked at them as pets, like animals. You're just a commodity to me. And, I'm going to use you like an animal and dispose of you when you're no use to me anymore. I'm not saying that was a good thing, but it's not the same genocide as what they're trying to compare, say, with Hitler, because that's true genocide. I don't have another reason to kill you with the exception of I hate you and you are a different race. So now what she's suggesting is that that's occurring still to this day. Okay, let's find out if that's true.
Sick and tired of seeing black men and women be killed.
Sick and tired.
And nothing be done about it.
Nothing.
You had a black man in the office, bro. They were still killing us, bro.
That's right, bro. Stop killing us. As you are still out there yelling, stop killing us.
It's chilling.
It is chilling, Tucker.
And if you believe it and you're a decent person,
right,
you will be moved by it.
That's right.
Because it's awful.
Fighting oppression.
No American should ever be mistreated by those in authority, much less killed.
True.
The abuse of power is always and everywhere a sin, and it's increasingly common here.
Mm-hmm.
We should always work to end it.
Good point, Tucker.
In this case, the death of a man at the hands of police in Minneapolis turned out to be a metaphor for abuse of power. That death has led to demands that we fire the nearly 700,000 police officers who work in the United States.
Yeah.
And that we free the 1.5 million criminals who are now behind bars.
Y'all hear that?
In America, Joe Biden told us recently,
What'd he
quote,
say?
just
Sleepy?
the color of your skin puts your life at risk.
Sleepy, creepy,
Senator
sloppy?
Cory Booker of New Jersey strongly agreed with that. Quote, we have so many people in our country, Booker said yesterday, African-American men, mostly unarmed, being murdered by police officers and no way of holding them accountable.
I see.
So many people murdered by police officers, unarmed.
Those are big words, right?
You're hearing a lot of people in authority tell you that. Every day, every hour.
That's true.
One group of pro athletes just announced that, quote, it seems like every week a new tragedy unfolds before our very eyes where people are being killed by police violence. Each time we tweet, we pray, we mourn, only to repeat the cycle a few days later.
So now, we better research this because these are big words, y'all. Big words that these people are throwing out. Now imagine if I don't want to know the facts. Imagine if I don't need to know all that. I'm mad because I've seen a case here, case there. I don't care how spread out they might be. I don't care about the end results of the case. Right now, I see something in my snapshot of it just looks, like racism. So therefore, instead of counting it all up and totaling it to come to a sum, I'm just going to assume this is on a global level and it's rapid fire. Let's hear some more.
Later, end quote. In the words of Ben Crump, who's the lawyer representing George Floyd's family in Minneapolis, what we're witnessing here in America is, quote, genocide.
Genocide?
Genocide. If you believed we were seeing genocide, then you might understand the riots now.
That's right.
There's nothing worse than genocide.
Nothing.
But is it happening? Is any of this true? We should find out. Facts matter. What exactly are the numbers?
Let's find out.
We found the numbers. And we're going to go through them with you in some detail.
Not numbers.
It's worth it. Since 2015, the Washington Post has maintained a comprehensive database of fatal police shootings in this country.
Okay, tell us, Tucker.
Last year, the Post logged a total of 1,004 killings.
Okay.
Of the 802 shootings in which the race of the police officer and the suspect was noted, 371 of those killed were white. 236 were black.
Okay.
The vast majority of those killed were not, in fact, unarmed. The vast majority were armed, and African-American suspects were significantly more likely to have a deadly weapon than white suspects.
Now, nobody likes to hear that because, see, nobody wants to deal with the real issue that even though black men represent such a small percentage of Americans, isn't it peculiar that they represent such a high percentage of the crime? High percentage of the murders that take place. See, nobody wants to talk about that. High percentage of black people being shot by other black people. The majority of black men killed aren't killed by white cops. I mean, they're killed by other black people. But the outrage only comes when you can pin racism on the police. Instead of saying, let's get down to another root of the problem that's really the threat for black people. Let's go into the neighborhoods and wonder why they represent such a high percentage of the crime, which as a result would put them directly in contact with the police more than others, which would increase the chances of them running into some type of incident where the police either kill them or go too far or whatever, okay? There's a reason why the police deals with young black men more so than other races because they represent such a high percentage of the crime. And I'm not proud of that. Black people shouldn't be proud of that. And they should be wondering, why is it that we represent that much of the crime? Democrats aren't answering that question. They're just saying, well, let's, make the country lawless then. Let these folks just not be held accountable for the crime. So to deal with systemic racism and the police that have to deal with people who are committing these crimes, let's get rid of the police. Let's solve that. Let's solve the problem by increasing the problem, by taking away the cops and putting more criminals on the street and saying, look at us, we're fighting against racism as we allow black neighborhoods to just increase in crime when cops stop going there. When cops say, man, I ain't even going into the black neighborhood, man, because, dude, all I got to do is just grab somebody to arrest them and actually, oh, he's going too far. Somebody's filming me. Here we go again. It's racism. Now, once again, for all of the haters, I understand these things happen from time to time. They're not good. And I'm telling you right now, if it happened and it was an issue where the cops got off or I felt it was real injustice, I would be ready to protest. If George Floyd's death would have gone unpunished, we're expecting the law to do what it's supposed to do. If it didn't go punished, then guess what? I would be grabbing a sign. I'd be like, let's meet down in Minneapolis, man. I'm down. And power to the people. But let the system play out first before you tear up the joint. Let's hear some more facts.
Yet more white suspects were killed.
Oh.
Overall, there were a total of precisely 10 cases in the United States last year, according to the Washington Post.
That's it?
In which unarmed African Americans were fatally shot by the police. There were 9 men and 1 woman.
Wait a minute, Tucker. This is genocide. So 10 plus what? The rest of the 400-something million people in America? That don't seem like a high percentage. They are falling way behind on their genocide numbers. That's all I'm saying. They better get a move on. You only got maybe 4 more years of Trump. So we got to wipe out all of these black people before Trump gets out the office because that's what's his diabolical scheme and plan. Even though more black men were killed under Obama and less under Trump. So I'm trying to figure out how genocide plays a part in this and how Trump plays. Oh, anyway, we don't need to deal with that because, see, you know what? That's reasoning and logic and facts, and we don't want to deal with that. We just want to be mad. All right, let's hear the rest of these facts.
Now, as we said, a lot is at stake. The country is at stake.
True.
So we want to take the time now to go through these case by case into the specifics. The first was a man called Chinara Feep. He was killed by a Knoxville police officer called Dylan Williams.
Okay.
According to Williams, Feep attacked him, choked him, and then used a taser on him, the suspect on the police officer, before the officer shot him. 5 eyewitnesses corroborated the officer's claim, and the officer was not charged.
Okay, so he wasn't charged. That was
the
a legit
second case
killing. Okay.
concerns a man called
who?
Marcus McVeigh,
Marcus
who was
McVeigh.
by any description a career criminal from San Angelo, Texas.
Okay.
He'd been convicted of aggravated assault on a public servant, and organized criminal activity. At the time he was killed, he was wanted on drug dealing charges. The Texas state trooper pulled him over.
Okay.
McVeigh fled in his car, then he fled on foot into the woods.
Okay.
There he fought with a trooper and was shot and killed. The officer was not
So
charged.
he brought that on himself? Okay.
Marzua Scott assaulted a shop employee. When a female police officer arrived and ordered the suspect toward her car, he instead charged her and knocked her to the ground.
Oh,
At that
preemptive
point,
strike.
he shot and killed him. The entire incident was caught on body camera. The officer was not charged.
Okay, good.
Brian Twyman was being approached by two LA County deputies when he backed into one of them with his vehicle.
Ooh.
The deputy was caught in the car door. He and his partner opened fire.
That's not good.
The deputies were not charged in that case.
Okay.
Melvin Watkins of East Baton Rouge, Louisiana, was shot by a deputy after he allegedly drove his car toward the deputy at high speed. The deputy was not charged. Isaiah Lewis, meanwhile, wasn't just unarmed. He was completely naked. Williams broke into a house and then attacked a police officer. The police tased Williams, but he kept coming at them and attacking. The officer shot him. They were not charged.
I see.
Atiana Jefferson was shot by a Fort Worth deputy called Aaron Dean.
Okay.
A neighbor had called a non-emergency number after seeing Johnson's door open, thinking something might be wrong. Police arrived. Johnson saw them approach from a window and was holding a gun at the time. According to body camera footage, the officer shot Johnson within seconds. Jefferson, that officer has been charged with homicide.
Punished? Oh, okay.
Christopher Whitfield was shot and killed in a place called Ethel, Louisiana. He'd robbed a gas station.
Right.
Deputy Glenn Sims said his gun discharged accidentally while grappling with Whitfield. Sims, who is black himself, was not charged in that killing.
Okay.
Kevin Mason was shot by police during a multi-hour standoff. While Mason turned out not to have a gun, Mason claimed to have a gun, claimed to be armed, and vowed to kill police with it.
Okay.
They believed him. Mason had been in a shootout with police years before. And finally, the 10th case concerns Gregory Griffin. He was shot during a car chase. An officer called Giovanni Crespo claimed he saw someone pointing a gun at him. Later, a gun was in fact found inside the vehicle, and yet Officer Crespo was charged anyway with aggravated manslaughter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Those are the facts.
Facts.
That is the entire list.
So there's your genocide list of white cops killing innocent, I guess, unarmed black men. So out of 10 of those people, 2 cops were sent to jail and the rest of them were cleared because of what you just heard. Now, they're never going to tell you that it ain't that many killings of black men by the police. Compare that, though, to the police that's being killed. Let's listen.
From 2019, last year. 10 deaths. In 5 deaths, an officer was attacked just before the shooting occurred. That is not disputed.
Okay.
1 allegedly was an accident. That leaves a total of 4 deaths during a pursuit or in a standoff.
Right.
So out of 4, in 2 of those cases, in fully half, the officer was criminally charged.
Okay.
Is it possible that more of these officers should have been charged? Of course it's possible. Justice is not always served, that's for sure.
True.
But either way, this is a very small number in a country of 325 million people.
25 million.
This is not genocide. It's not even close to genocide.
No.
It is laughable to suggest it is.
Yeah.
In fact, the number of police killings is dropping. In 2015, during Barack Obama's presidency, 38 unarmed black Americans and 32 whites were slain by police. Overall totals have fallen since then, and they have fallen far more dramatically for African American men.
Under white Trump.
Last year was the safest year for unarmed suspects since the Washington Post began tracking police shootings. It was the safest year for both white and black suspects.
Now, if it wasn't from Tucker telling me that, I'd be mad. I'd be sitting back like, man, it's all Trump's fault. I mean, every time I turn on the TV, it's another black man dead because of Trump's rhetoric. I mean, he's emboldened them in those dog whistles he walks around with. I mean, all of these white nationalists, they hear it, and they're killing us on a mega level. We're talking genocide. Man. We got to go out and tear up stuff right now. But now I'm starting to see that, wait, maybe you have legitimate cases that black people are killed by the police, and the ones that aren't legitimate, they were punished. But to go as so far as to create this in the mind of that young impressionable girl was talking about this is the genocide of black people, or the lawyer who said you're witnessing the genocide of black men. Do you understand how over the top that language is, how inflammatory, and how people don't rely on facts like this and they all about feelings? They will develop a very angry disposition off of false narrative. See, yeah, it's kind of like how they say Trump is Hitler. It's kind of like how they say, well, if Trump wants to restore order in the streets, that means he's bringing the military to just kill innocent protesters, peaceful protesters. He's trying to take over. He wants to be a king. This is the start of him becoming Mussolini and Adolf Hitler. See, it is that type of over-the-top information that causes you to get all in your feelings and then buy into narratives instead of dealing with the real facts. Now, close it out for us, Tucker, because see, there's another piece of the puzzle that we're not hearing, which is how safe is it as a police officer?
At the same time, this country remains a dangerous place for police officers. 48 of them were murdered in 2019, according to FBI data.
Whoa!
That's more than the number of unarmed suspects killed of all races. One final number for you, because it matters.
Okay.
In 2018, 7,407 African Americans were murdered in the United States.
Okay.
If 2019 continues on a similar trajectory, and we hope it doesn't, but if it does,
okay,
that would mean that for every unarmed African American shot to death in the United States by police, more than 700 were murdered by someone else. Usually by someone they know. Again,
you know the translation to that? Usually by someone they know. See, Tucker ain't gonna say it because, you know, I mean, people will be like, I see y'all want to focus on black crime, but what about these white cops and all this? See, we get that. We get that. But you can't tell me that Black Lives Matter and you overlook that. See, if you really about it, you'll be going to the black areas where real numbers are way over that. 10 black men that got killed in 2019. But instead, mum's the word. You want to go all out and tear up the whole neighborhood in America over a black man that's killed that we all agree was bad. But yet, innocent black kids shot in crossfires. Black men in the black neighborhood shot. Where's Antifa? Are they too scared to go into the hood and start painting on that stuff? Go to the gang houses and start spray painting Black Lives Matter on that. Even the Black Lives Matter movement. Why ain't y'all going in there? Going in there talking about some no justice, no peace. You scared? Perhaps? Yeah, that's what you are. See, what they are pawns on the chessboard, just getting moved around by other people who creating false narratives. And then when Tucker calls it out, how can you justify these statements that's being thrown around like this? Man, genocide. Now here I am, young, impressionable, ignorant black man, and I hear that, you about to get me killed. You about to get me shot. Because I already developed an angry disposition about the police. And they come, excuse me, sir, I need to, you were swerving. I just want to make sure. Yeah, man, see, here we go again, man. This is genocide. Instead of saying, okay, well, what's the problem, officer? Okay, I disagree with you on that. But I'm not going to show that by getting upset, fighting back, doing all of this and that, because I assume that this cop did this, pulled me over, because it's simply because I was black. Simply because I've been listening to them tell me. They're trying to make genocide out of all these black people. Yeah, see, so I'm mad already because I assume the man walking to my car wants to commit genocide. And if you listen to Mad Max Maxine, you would think that before they even go out during their meetings, they're like, man, today I'm going to kill me a black man, baby. Okay. Hey, last week I got about 4 or 5 big ones. I got them in my crib over the fireplace. You got to come past, check them out. Got to come back, check them out. One had a do-rag on. You know what I'm saying? Them like do-rags in there. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, that's what you would think is happening. So I'm here to give you some real information so that when you go out and you hear folks talking about, man, black people getting killed every day. LeBron James, yeah, man, black men are getting hunted every day. Well, the numbers don't support that. So when you throw that in their face, then what? What can they say after that? Well, so what? You're a poopy head. That's what you are. That's probably what they would say. Because that's all they do when you throw facts at them. You're stupid and white nationalist, but even though you're black, but you're white nationalist and a fascist, maybe? Something like that. I know, I'll come up with something. Yeah, that's what they do. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry the video was so long, but I needed everybody to hear that. So God bless you. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and the notification button. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram. The links are below. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, links below. Put Kevin in the promo code. You get a 20% discount. And make sure you still subscribe and your notifications are set to all. And then let me see what else. What did I forget? Okay. Oh, if you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, feel free. There's a link below. All right. God bless. And I'm going to give that shout out for all that wonderful information to Tucker Carlson. All right. God bless. See you next time.